What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Second Street Marvel. I hope you're all having a very good day today. I am your host, Trinity. Thank you all so much for being here today. I do apologize about the delay. I already see my man, Mike Porter, in the chat giving me a hard time about being late. I'm sorry, my brother. I hope all is going well with you. I hope all is going well with all of you guys. It's Monday. What else can I say? It's a Monday morning. Woke up, got ready. Didn't do a workout today. I got my solid week of workouts in yesterday. Gonna take a rest day today, but that don't mean that I'm taking the day off. I'm still gonna go out, get a nice little workout, get the blood flowing, stuff like that. You still got to stay active even on days in which you are not working out on rest days. On rest days, there is no such thing as a rest day, but there is, and that's every day. So anyway, I hope you're all having a very good day today. Let me see who all we've got here in the chats. I see we've got my man, my favorite Porter, Mike Porter, in the building. Say we must be on standard time. No, just running a little late. You know, I had for whatever reason, it's weird sometimes with YouTube. You get on here, you get your stream set up, and then like on there, like it won't take your thumbnail, or it puts the time different than when you wanted to start your stream. And dude, it does weird stuff sometimes, and like I constantly find myself sitting there going like, dude, I uploaded a thumbnail. It didn't have my thumbnail on there. The time, I didn't have the time. I mean, it was supposed to start at 6:30. That was right. But like sometimes things just change on there on its own when you go to put it on YouTube. Anyway, I won't confess to know too much about it, but I do greatly appreciate all of you being here. I see we also got Cat60 Designs LLC. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're having a very good day as well. Mike Porter, my favorite Porter, with a $4.99 super chat says, "You need this, my friend. I'm silly today." No, thank you very much, Mike Porter. I do greatly appreciate that. But no, you're all good. Hey, believe me, bust my chops as much as you want. It's okay. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. That's okay. You guys help keep me humble, right? You guys help keep me humble. So anyway, getting into this week, what I wanted to talk about was there was a little bit of news that kind of happened. Some news that interested me, and we'll get into a few other things of stuff that kind of interest me as well. We'll get into in just a few minutes. We got James Phelps in the house. Says, "Trinity, what's up this morning? Hello from West Texas." Well, hello, James Phelps. I hope all's going well with you today. I hope things are going good there in West Texas. I'm here in Southern California, and let me tell you, I kept waking up this morning to normally it's because we have trash pandas going through our trash cans, and no trash pandas today. But believe me, trash pandas of different sorts, and. But today it was the wind. The wind is blowing like crazy out here, and it's blowing everybody's trash cans over. There's trash blowing all up the street, and I'm sitting there like, I sure hope Waste Management comes and picks all this up. If not, I sure hope the governor does. If not, I mean, I sure hope somebody from the state does. Geez, they're supposed to take care of us. Yeah. I know, maybe I'm taking a little bit, maybe I'm coming a little bit hot for a Monday morning, but you know what? We're going to get into a little bit more of that in just a minute. But thank you so much for being here. Now, to start off this week, as you guys know, it's a new week. That means new comic books this Wednesday. I think I've got a list of about 10 comic books. I don't have images here to show you. I am going to go over, do a video of those here a little bit later today. But the other thing that I do want to talk about is this news right here that I recently found. It was something that happened. I don't know. This news is from January 22nd. Let's go ahead and bring this up right here. Let me see if we can get that. Okay. Whew. It kept something right. Streamlabs did something right. We got this article right here coming to us from the Hollywood Reporter. This is from January 22nd from Graham McMillan on their Heat Vision on the Hollywood Reporter here. Talking about this show, Moths. Saying J. Michael Straczynski to launch superhero tragedy Moths. Now, in case you don't know, Moths is actually part of a series. It's a tie-in series to a comic book that I started reading last year called The Resistance. It's published by AWA Upshot Studios. If you don't know who AWA Upshot is, they are a new comic book company being kind of headed up by Bill Jemas and Axel Alonso, a couple of guys who have had quite a history in the comic book industry. And J. Michael Straczynski is certainly no stranger to comic books. Last year, they launched this new company, AWA Upshot, amidst the pandemic at the very beginning of the year. I believe it was, I want to say it was maybe mid-February, late February of last year. They launched their first titles. They actually had 5 of them that they started out with. They started off with The Resistance, Year Zero, Hotel, Red Border, and Archangel 8. Most of these comic books, they all take place, the AWA Upshot universe is kind of this shared universe where writers don't necessarily have to play into the shared universe, but they are more than welcome to use this kind of universe at their disposal. And it was all really launched off by this first title called The Resistance, in which a deadly a deadly virus had swept the world. It was a deadly pandemic, and different nations around the world dealt with it in their own different ways. Well, what happened was there was a lot of people who ended up getting sick from this. A lot of people died, and a lot of people lived who had got sick as well, and a lot of them started to get powers. They inherited superpowers from this virus. And of course, naturally, it was kind of misunderstood. Nobody really knew what was going on. The different governments reacted to it differently. And of course, people who ended up living through it, people who ended up getting like these superpowers, they are obviously, excuse me, being discriminated against. Now, the one thing is there's different people out there with different power sets and things like that. It's much like, think of it almost like the X-Men, or maybe even more so like the Inhumans from Marvel Comics. Something right along those lines. But also, out of there was a race of these people, or a certain faction of these people who got sick and got powers, who were called moths. And what moths did was they basically they had their powers. They didn't know what they were. I mean, hopefully they would learn what they were, but their powers lay latent until they decide to use them, and at that point it goes into overdrive. It's almost like being an omega level mutant in the X-Men comics, but it only lasts for 6 months and you're gonna burn out and die. That's pretty much how it goes. So yeah, I guess that's a setup here for this article. But what we've got here is like I said, coming here from the Hollywood Reporter, we've got the Babylon 5 writer will spin the new comic book series out of his AWA series, The Resistance, this summer. The shared universe of independent publishers, artists, writers, and artisans, that's AWA Upshot, is set to expand this summer as J. Michael Straczynski creates a 6-issue spin-off of The Resistance, the series where a virus has left millions dead, with survivors receiving superpowers as they recover. Unlike the epic political scope of the primary title, however, Moths will tell a far more intimate story altogether. Where the Resistance books are about the big picture, Moths, set in the same shared universe, is the intimate and personal story of a young woman who survived the virus and came out on the other side changed, writer Straczynski explained to the Hollywood Reporter. But unlike other reborns who came into their powers as soon as they recovered, Emily Kai is a unique category known as Moths. Their powers are latent and unknown until they choose to activate them. At that moment, the powers awaken and a clock begins ticking, because once a moth activates their powers, they only have 6 months to live. Simply put, you burn bright but extinguish, added AWA Chief Executive Officer Axel Alonso. While The Resistance and The Resistance Uprising were huge world-building stories that spanned the globe, Moths tells the intimate story of a young woman who embraces her power and the consequences that come with that. Perfectly realized by J. Michael Straczynski and artist Mike Choi, who is turning in career-defining work. So, let's see. I can't remember if they went on to say when this is getting ready to come out for the TV show, but it does say the Moths, the comic book, does launch in June. And so I'm guessing that's getting ready to probably be solicited in this week's solicits. the new comic book solicits that should be coming out. They have some of the artwork on here, some of the covers. This cover right here by Kari Andrews, who is actually doing the book over there, Erratic, right now. Great book. But yeah, I don't know. It sounds interesting to me. I can't wait to see it. Like I said, this series overall has let's see. Okay, yeah. This series overall has been very good. I've enjoyed a lot of the books and titles that they are doing over at AWA Upshot. The Resistance is definitely one that I like. Definitely not my favorite out of all the books they've done, but one I really have enjoyed. And especially considering like it is kind of like the X-Men Inhumans kind of thing. And just I remember when it came out last year, just as things were starting to go into lockdown here in the United States, it was kind of interesting seeing how this story played out. And I'm reading this story and like things started, like everything started going on lockdown. Everybody was getting sick and stuff. And, you know, it was on the news. I remember like sitting there reading this comic book, like, little on the nose there, aren't we? But anyway, guys, let's get into this live chat and see what you all are saying about this. And then I've got another news story that we're going to cover here in just a minute. Mike Porter says, Rocket Raccoon is eating Trinity's garbage. Yes. LB from the Lonely Banter, my man, how are you doing? What is up? I hope all is well. ReeferMan Reviews, what is up, Wayne? ReeferMan says, I've been dying for more from the Resistance line of stories. Absolutely. I mean, even that one shot they did, the Resistance Reborns, it just wasn't enough, was it? Was it? Nah. But anyway, I think the Resistance season 2 is actually getting ready to start here soon as well. But yeah, definitely going to be good stuff. Good stuff. Can't wait to see it. Mark Hamilton says, good afternoon from the UK. Thank you so much for being here, Mark. I hope all is going well over there. I know, as far as I know, things are pretty well into good lockdown over there. They've got you guys, as far as I know, I'm pretty sure. But I hope all is going well. Hope all is going well. It's an interesting concept. It is. And again, it's one of the series I've enjoyed out of AWA Upshot. I honestly wish that they would do some of the other books before they would do that one. Because honestly, Red Border, I'd love to see Red Border as a show. I would honestly love to see Hotel as a show as well. Archangel 8 would be sick also. I mean, like, a lot of the titles they do are really good. Like, Erratic is going to be one that's off the chain if they could ever actually make that a thing. If you could have a power, what would it be? I don't know. That's a good one. You know, because there's super strength, there's super speed, there's all these superpowers. I don't know. You know, one of the things I really always liked, and especially, you know, I mean, it's Wolverine, but a healing ability, a healing factor. I think that would be great. But I want the healing factor to be total, overall, not just scars on my body, if you know what I mean. But yeah. Okay, full national lockdown. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say I knew things were getting pretty locked down over there. Well, I hope all's going well with you. I hope you're able to have just everything there and ready for you. I know that can be tough for a lot of people. Joseph Lennon, thank you so much for being here. Would you have powers for 6 months and die? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe I'll just keep them powers latent forever and hope that I can make the change without having to do it. Oh, man. So, I wouldn't have the power to live now. Yes. Okay, so I want to get into another article really quick, guys. I'm not sure if you guys like music or not, but I caught this article. You guys know how the interwebs are. You know how the tweeters is. And this one actually got shoved in my face here. And it was this story right here about Rage Against the Machine. This comes from Spin Magazine. This was on January 15th. Rage Against the Machine, unveiling Killing in Thy Name documentary about the fiction known as whiteness. The short film is in collaboration with Uma Chroma. And look, you get to see the guys from Rage Against the Machine right there. Oh, that was terrible, wasn't it? Anyway, says if you're waiting for Rage Against the Machine to collectively chime in with their take on the modern revival of old-fashioned racism, by the way, I wasn't. Which has always been there, but it's far more prevalent in society now than it was 5 years ago. Your day has come! Yay! Wow. Do I even really need to dig into that? Should I? I suppose I could, but is racism more prevalent now? You know what? Well, we'll get back to that. Arguably, the most politically charged band of all time has just released a short documentary called "Killing in Thy Name" in order to serve as a fire escape from the fiction known as whiteness and a spring for discovery. Of course, the film utilizes plenty of the band's Killing in the Name as a soundtrack and reference, while the material itself goes into an explanation about how people who now consider themselves white have actually come from a wide variety of backgrounds and committed no shortage of atrocities over the centuries. After providing the historical context and explanation for the documentary, the 15-minute video closes with quotes from the band members and a classic live performance of the titular track. It seems more appropriate than ever, considering that last week's insurrection showed even the most willfully ignorant of Americans that some of those workforces are indeed the same that burn crosses. Check out the video below. Obviously, I'm not sure if you guys ever followed Rage Against the Machine. They are, they've always been a very politically charged band. Very funny. That this article is kind of going just some of the things being said in here. Talking about the revival of old-fashioned racism. Which has always been there, but is now I gotta ask: is racism far more prevalent in society these days now, guys? And I'm asking for honest answers. I just want honest answers. Is racism more prevalent now than it has always been? I want to know. Let me know down in the comments below. But I guess I guess Rage Against the Machine had to do something to try to become relevant again. I mean, hell, they haven't made an album since when? It's been forever ago. And sometimes you gotta scratch at whatever you can and grab at whatever you can to try to become relevant again. And I guess as we can see, Rage Against the Machine is going to Rage Against the Machine. They're going to do just like everybody else out there and take the bait. They're going to cast it out there and hope that you take it. And you're going to take it and you're going to love it. Hell, I did. I clicked on the damn article and read it, right? And yes, believe me, I was slapping my forehead and laughing just as hard as you probably were right now. But anyway, we'll get into this in just a minute. Let's see what everybody has to say. Louis the 13th, thank you so much for being here. Will Morgan is in the house. Apex Comics, how are you doing? Will Morgan says, Zach Della Rocha is my boy. Yeah, man. Chillmonger, thank you so much for being here. Mark Hamilton says, Rach, don't know. I think don't give a fudge about pandering to racist or bigoted fans of any sort. They own their politics. Absolutely they do. Cat 60 Designs LLC says, they are dead to me. They are dead to me. How dare somebody have other opinions other than my own? I'm watching the news. LB says, I'm watching the news, but I'm confused by this Rage Against the Machine thing. ReeferMan. Some of the... Will Morgan says, some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Why can't we have civilized discussions? Absolutely. We'll get into that. I used to like that band, and I also used to have hair. Yeah, hell yeah. Racism only spoke more of because social media. It ain't the worst it's been like some people claim. Absolutely, LB, and that's kind of what I wanted to get into here with this article, is the way they dive into that is like, especially when it comes to, here's the thing, like, I always find funny out there, and this is really the thing. It really comes down to a matter of language, and a matter, I mean, ultimately, of, do you actually know your heritage? Do you? Just asking, do ya? Because the one thing I want to bring up that has to do with all this stuff, people talking about racism and stuff. Oh my God, racism. All right. White isn't a race. And for anybody else out there, I hate to burst your bubble, but neither is black. All right? These aren't races. These are colors. And when you start to think about colors as races, this is where the issues start to come in at. As you start to look at whiteness, blackness, white people, black people. Well, what about us Mexicans? Why can't we get up in this? Are we brown people then? Do we gotta make lines for you too? Is that what it is? Or is it that Mexicans don't give a shit? No, I honestly can't say that's the truth, because believe me when I say that's far from the truth. But here's the thing, is like, black, white, these are colors. If you're being offended by people saying these things about black people, about white people, good for you, I guess. This is just something that's really always confused me, and I wanted to talk about something. I wanted to kind of cover this because it's something my man Young Rippa 59 talks about a lot in his streams, and I always find it really funny too, because he always asks, like, what's the code? Like, can somebody crack the code? Because he always, he posts, he's controversial and stuff like that, but there's a lot of things that come about that. People come at him saying racist things, actually, and and he says it's always funny because the people who come at him the most and cry the most, the hardest about racism and being discriminated against, is what he always says is light-skinned black people that always come at him, calling him all kinds of names and how he's not doing anything to help the black cause and all this kinds of stuff. And he always laughs because it's always these light-skinned black people. And I'm like, and I always laugh and he always asks, like, what's the code? What is it with these people? Why is it always this? And to be honest with you, believe me when I say, I know what the deal is. I've got the code. The code is cracked. And it's pretty simple. And I only know this because growing up, how I did. Now, I've got a lot of things in my heritage and my background, but the most prevalent ones are going to be, my mother, who is Mexican. And like I said, we could dig into all these things. But then my father, who's white. Right? I mean, he was more like German, Danish, Native American, but you would essentially call him white, right? And here's the thing: is when I was growing up, and here's the code cracked, is because what happens is And I know this just growing up from my experiences. Growing up in my experience, where I grew up at, like it was still, I wouldn't say racism, but it's more discrimination. And sometimes I think people need to learn the difference between racism, discrimination, and what's the other one? There's the other one. They're all synonymous with each other, but they're not really, yeah. The thing is, I grew up half, and everybody knew it. The thing is, growing up, like, white people didn't accept me as white, right? Because I'm Mexican, right? And Mexican people didn't accept me because I was white. Was I discriminated against? Yeah. Oh, prejudice. That's it. Prejudice. Was I discriminated against? Yeah. I mean, nothing, not like terrible. Did people have their thoughts on it? Oh yeah, I'm sure they did. And here's the thing: is why people seem to think and feel this way a lot of times is like I said, I grew up, I felt that way. It's kind of like, okay, like the white people, I'm a Mexican. The Mexican people, I'm a white boy. All this stuff. But here's the thing. Here's the thing: is this even happened with my own family, right? Even the white people on my white side of the family, they was the same way. They was the same fucking way. And even the Mexicans on the Mexican side of the family, they were the same way. The acceptance thing, like, oh, you're part of the family, but you're the white one. You're the weirdo, right? And that's the thing is. This is the code cracked why all these light-skinned black people or mixed race ones are the ones screaming the loudest about it is because guarantee you this is what it is because you feel like you haven't been accepted by this side or that side and you want to take up the battle. You want to take up the battle like, oh, you're not helping anybody. You got to choose a side, right? You got to choose a side because you would know you've been discriminated against the most. So why not scream the loudest? But the thing is and I know this just from being mixed race is that I have absolutely no experience in knowing what it's like to be white or to be all Mexican and be discriminated against 100%, right? Like I'm kind of discriminated against by kind of both sides here. And you get into it if you're all one and not the other, you're pretty much discriminated against from all sides, right? And now this is coming from something that it's not 100% true. Not everybody really feels that way. Not everybody really feels that way about all of this stuff. There's people like me. There's people like you that probably I don't give a shit what color your skin is. I don't give a shit what your background is or anything like that. If you're cool, we cool, right? I live in a real world. I live in a real world where there's people of different races, different colors, different nationalities walking around me constantly, all right? And you know what? I mean, people, they build their trust. They build their rapport with people. That's just what people do. You're an individual. It has nothing to do with your race, the color of your skin, or any of this kind of stuff. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you more or less or anything like this because of that. Well, actually, there is plenty of people out there who will. There are people out there who will apologize for things that they didn't even have anything to do with. All because there's somebody else out there playing these little race games trying to drag you into it and make you feel bad for something that somebody who you have no clue who they are, did. For some atrocities that somebody did 100 years ago, hundreds of years ago. But you're going to have people out there like this on social media and in media and all this stuff who were going to constantly use these things to try to kind of pitch you against each other with these things, right? And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's just, I don't know. When I see, like I said, I was reading this article. I'm like, oh, Rage Against the Machine. Read this thing. And I'm like, I expected it to be kind of like that anyway. I mean, it's Rage Against the Machine we're talking about here, right? It's Rage Against the Machine we're talking about here. But as I read the article, I'm sitting there seeing the same thing. And that's kind of what LB brought up is like, look, racism isn't any more alive now than it has been ever, all right? As a matter of fact, I would go so far as to argue that it was actually a lot worse way back in the day, okay? It's just now you're on social media, and maybe you're not used to living in a world where social media has everything in your face 24/7, or maybe you did grow up in that, so you think that it's so bad. But believe me when I tell you, it's not. But there's also something else I want to say too. You know, a lot of people act like racism is terrible. It's the worst thing ever. And I'll be honest with you. Being a racist and being that way to somebody solely based on those things is. But throughout human history, races have, like, people of different races have always wanted to kind of separate themselves and be in, you know, within their own culture. There's plenty of cultures out there today. They don't like to marry outside of their own race, outside of their own all of those things. You've got to keep it in the family, if you will, in the gene pool, because they don't want it being whitewashed or whatever washed, you know. We'll just use whitewashed. Oh my God. Oh! There's still a lot of that stuff that goes on in the world today, right? That doesn't mean that it's racist. People just want to hold on to their culture. And that's not to say that, you know, cultures aren't going to be appropriated. We're going to get, do we need to get into that? I don't really think we do. All right, Will Morgan, I'll see you there in just a few, man. But ultimately, that's something I just wanted to say here, just based on this article and just everything you see out there is look, don't let somebody pitch you in this war against other people for their skin colors and all this stuff. And just because somebody says white and black and all these things doesn't make them racist, right? You know what makes it, you know what makes it silly is when people get all upset by it, right? People get all, oh my God. You know, I'll be honest with you. I grew up laughing at some of the, you know, at plenty of racist jokes, you know, but that doesn't mean that somebody was ill-intentioned. I mean, did you ever watch an Eddie Murphy stand-up? Did you ever watch Richard Pryor? Here's the thing is, like, throughout time, we've always made fun of different cultures, different people for their differences and stuff like that. And here's the thing is, it's something that's unique that makes you unique. It's okay to laugh at that. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if somebody is being disparaging, I completely get it. But sometimes it's okay to lighten up, let a joke be a joke, let an asshole be an asshole, right? You don't always have to take offense. Not everybody is racist. They have all these jokes. Hell, we make jokes about our own races, right? Does that make you racist? I don't think so. I don't think so. Remember, what was his name? Paul? Wasn't it Paul Rodriguez? Hell, that dude used to go out there on stage and make fun of plenty of Mexicans. He was Mexican, right? Oh my God. The thing is with politics, just like your race, all of these things make you unique. Your politics even. You have different thoughts than anybody else out there, even somebody else on the same political side as you. All these things, and I've talked about this plenty of times, all these differences are to be celebrated. They're not supposed to draw you apart. They're supposed to bring you together so you can talk about them and discuss them. I mean, that's the only way. Like, you're not supposed to shut others out. That's exactly what you're not supposed to do. You should be willing to share these things about yourself and about your culture and all these different things. There's nothing wrong with that. And you should be willing to embrace other people's cultures and things like that. You don't have to, but you should be willing to. And it's okay for people to celebrate whatever race they are, whatever nationality they are, all that kinds of stuff. Nationality, that's just a weird thing. Nationalism is weird. Nationalism is weird. All right? I'm going to say it. But that's the thing is, it's supposed to bring you together so you can share these things and, you know, enjoy the company of other people. It shouldn't divide you. It should bring you together and be celebrated. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for today's show. Thank you all so much for being here on the Second Street Marvel. I am going to drop some videos. I've been working on that video, that WandaVision video that I've been talking about, and I'm just not very good at script writing because I'm sitting here. I know if I try to do this shit on a live stream, it's going to go on forever and ever and ever and ever, and it's just not going to be pretty. But anyway, guys, I've got the script written, getting ready to sit down and record a little bit later. But I hope you're all having a very good day. I did get that video shot where I did an unboxing of some comic books, a crowdfunded project that you, the Myrtle Maniacs, helped bring to life. But you all have a very good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Oh, and don't forget, I'll go through some of your thoughts here and read some of the things you guys have to say, and we'll maybe talk about those a little bit later on. But you all have a good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.